if they were as good at fighting wars as they are at stealing elections and rigging elections, because it was a rigged election, we would have no enemies right now. There would be no enemies to have.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe if you believe that they rigged the election, maybe getting out of Afghanistan is part of that plan. Obviously, you didn't see the rig coming. The whole thing snuck up on you. Golly, while you were president and you were the best at everything, somehow Joe Biden managed to coordinate a rigged election while you ran the country. By the way, in the states Republicans control.
They focus on that. That's their focus. Rigging elections. That's what they do. Yeah. And we caught them. Go ahead.
Let's talk about...
No, you didn't. What we just caught was somebody moved the camera on Danny Balls, and the director didn't know it, and it got a little sloppy there for a second. So,
immigration, you went there, and we have watched since February. The numbers start at 80 to 100,000. Last month's numbers were 212,000 illegals coming in from over 100 countries. We know 26% of them have COVID. We know that over 114...
No, we don't. What happened to the top of the wall? The fuck? What was this? They run out of money right here? This is the gap?
The number we're caught are from 14 different terrorist nations and groups. So we've got terrorists, we've got drugs, human and sex trafficking. I know that the opioid crisis and the human trafficking, especially...
Look at this. I mean, how are they not MS-13? Look at this guy. Clearly a coyote, trafficking this poor little girl. And here he is giving his phone number to one of the guys from Border Patrol, I guess who was a customer. There's another kid leaning up against the car. Like, look at these criminals. Look at this. This is fucking frightening. They emptied their prisons in Guatemala and let these monsters walk all the way up here.
Women and children, those were very near and dear to your heart to fight those hardcore. And those numbers were going
down. Look at that. Look at it. She definitely just got sprung from a Honduran jail. Look at that. Look, and you'd think Trump would like her because look how she wears her mask. She's not covering her nose like a Karen. That is her mother, probably. I mean, or her agent.
Way down.
Record down.
I've had on several folks from the border agency.
Yeah, look at these monsters. There's women and these little kids. I'm just saying, guys, if you're going to pick images, try a little harder, maybe.
Retired now because they're allowed to speak with us once they're retired because Biden has muzzled them to the press, especially OAN. They've told me that besides morale being the lowest, compared to when you were in charge just a few months ago.
Yeah, we used to be able to beat children.
Numbers in over 21 years on almost everything.
And the highest morale. By the way, we had morale. They were great. The Border Patrol and ICE, you know, they're great people. They're brave people. You wouldn't want the job. You wouldn't want to be an ICE agent and have to go into, they call it a den.
Actually, he would like that. But here, listen to this story. An ICE agent that has to go into a den. He's about to tell us a story from, I think basically it's from Sicario 3.
Of MS-13 killers in Chicago or someplace.
Uh-huh. We're talking about the border, you know.
Say, come with me. And you walk in there and the fight starts and everything starts. It's very dangerous. These are brave, incredible people. They virtually...
What the fuck is with this over-the-shoulder? Can you turn the ISO up on this? Guys, I thought this was a professional news organization. You're not checking your cameras before you start rolling? This guy apparently used to be a president or something. And this guy, you know, likes to show his part. Look, you don't give him this. The set's already a dark green. This is not good.
To the sidelines. It's really incredible. We're the strongest border in the history of our country.
Thanks, COVID.
Now we have, 8 months later, we have the weakest border by far in the history of our country. We don't even have a border.
Nah, not right. I mean, the wall was shit. Thanks for bringing that up. You know what I mean? Thanks for bringing it up. You have 500 miles of wall and it doesn't work for shit. Somebody finally, thank you, whoever you are, for bringing that up. I think we can all agree that whoever built that wall was a complete asshole. I don't know who paid for that, but Jesus, how did you, I mean, it doesn't work at all. Like it worked like, what was it made out of marzipan? It worked for fucking 6 months and then nothing. Now everybody kids are just pushing it over. Like it's a $5 ladder can get over it? What a bunch of shit. Whoever thought that building a wall would solve the problem?
Yeah. Why do you think, and this is another thing, just talk.
He doesn't. I can answer that question. He doesn't actually. He doesn't think. He's just, his corpus callosum is connected directly to his voice box. And it's got his ego sits on it like a tick, just like sucking energy off of it.
Like about the Middle East. Why would the Biden administration want to allow, by the end of this year, by most figures I've looked up, it's going to be 1.5, 2 million illegal
people, yeah.
2 million by the end of the year. Why would you want to do that? Are you trying to then, and we see where we're shipping them. They're shipping them to the Midwest, the South, red states mostly. Is this?
Yeah. And it wouldn't be because there's a lot of religious organizations that sponsor them. And you have a tendency to find foster care families in red states specifically. And there's a mix of reasons. Deeply religious people who believe that they're good at child rearing and believe that adoption and fostering is a valuable effort. And then other people who live like ticks off the state while pretending to be free.
Planned for another way to cheat at elections.
So they say it's the
Cheat at what? Sorry? What was that again?
Is this a planned for another way to cheat at elections?
So they say it's the votes, but I don't think so again.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's the votes. I think it's just incompetence.
I don't want to be naive. I think they're grossly incompetent. I really do.
Yeah, I don't even think they know where these people are going. I think it's kind of like they're letting these children in and then they're losing track of them. I feel like, 800, couple thousand kids are just lost in the system. You know what I mean? That's how it was when I was president.
I don't think it's the votes because they cheat on the elections. They don't need votes. They cheat on the elections.
Why do we have to bring in a bunch of non-citizens who won't be able to vote for 10 to 12 years minimum when we can just cheat? I mean, come on.
43,000 votes were found last night. They cheat on elections.
No, there weren't. What do you mean 43,000 votes were found just last night? He's just going to drop that. He's going to, 43,000 votes found last night. Yeah, all for Biden. Were given to Biden ultimately because somebody in a red district tried to flip them from him to you. And and obviously, the best person I think to find fraud in an election is someone who attempted fraud in an election, failed, and now is using the existence of said fraud to try and get themselves back in a position of power. Who would do such a thing?
When you cheat on elections, you don't have to destroy the country.
No, you don't. That's the great thing about it. I mean, are you really destroying a country when you're cheating on elections?
Our country will not survive this. Our country will not survive.
Yeah, that's a way to believe in America. I mean, the patriotism.
And look at where they're coming from. They're coming from Yemen. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all countries that are very sick countries, very sick
countries, just disgusting, sick countries. Well, if you sit in a shithole, you'll get sick. I've heard this.
Very mean, nasty.
Yeah.
They're coming from all countries that have problems.
Yeah, all countries that have problems, unlike ours. Thank God we don't have any problems. Man, can you imagine if Canada had problems?
They're not going to be helpful to us.
No, they're not. I mean, do you really need to speak Pashto? At the who needs that?
And a lot of them are criminals. Right. They're emptying their jails. If you look at
they are in Yemen, and then what do? Swim?
Honduras, El Salvador, and others.
Yeah,
they're emptying their jails.
Yeah, other countries that he totally knows the name of.
To our country. Can you believe this?
Yeah.
The other day with SCOTUS, though, your great executive order of the stay in Mexico policy that was working for 3 or 4 years. Biden, of course, reversed the first week he was in. SCOTUS ruled against that. So that's one good win.
Stay in Mexico.
Yeah, it's going to get overturned. They just don't think you can undo it directly because you have this whole big setup and whatever. Make more of it though. Like it's all over. Yeah.
So important. Because I say, stay in Mexico. We don't want you in our country until you can come in legally. Stay in. They had hundreds of thousands of people
Well, asylum claims processed in the country is legally.
at the border staying in Mexico. And I built almost 500 miles of wall.
Almost. I thought it was over.
Could
I
have
guess it's almost. He's not counting the parts that blew down.
it finished in
Yeah,
1 month.
1,000 people in the chat. Give a thumbs up and a like, everybody. Come on. And if you're a troll, don't forget, give a thumbs down. For God's sake, write something, because it helps us out anyways. I mean, look at it. It's one of the reasons why we've had 4,000 new subscribers in the last 10 days alone. It's largely because the trolls are like, God, and the more they type, the more the algorithm goes, wow, people are really engaging with the show. It can sell ads, even if they're hate watching. And then it spreads out. And so thank you guys. Thanks so much.
2.5 years of litigation, or I would have had it finished easily. Had to fight everybody.
Well, yeah, you didn't start the part where you were going to seize lands from Texans and Arizonans. But yeah, give that a shot.
2.5 years of litigation. Then I started it. Built almost 500 miles. That's one of the reasons
Almost. That is new, isn't it?
the numbers are so low. But he should finish it. He should finish it.
Yeah, paint it, at least.
He should finish it. He could do it in a month.
Yeah,
Now-
totally. I mean, all it needs is a paint job, a couple of little patches here and there, and it would totally work. Nobody'd be able to climb it.
Contractors are suing, wanting more money than they got to build the thing in the first place.
Gee, it's almost like somebody who drafted the deal with them was a complete asshole.
Because they're saying they've been caused great harm by not finishing.
Right. The contracts were signed, he pulled it, and it's going to cost the American taxpayer money
Billions.
not to finish the wall.
Billions and
Yeah, who didn't put like clauses in there that if we decided to cancel it or funding runs out or there's any act of Congress or a change in leadership, they could just stop that part of it. What kind of an idiot would do that?
billions of dollars not to build the wall.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we finished most of it, and it was
Most of it.
tremendous help, and that's what gave us these low numbers. In addition,
Really? And then it stopped giving us these low numbers. Huh?
we have a very good relationship with the president of Mexico.
Yeah, it's
He
great.
gave us
I mean, he's dumping his prisons. He's got a great relationship with the president of Mexico, who is letting all the rapists and murderers out of his jail and human traffickers who mostly deal with women and children and drug dealers. He's letting those out of their jail. And apparently they're on the promise that they're going to walk straight to the American border and go into America. But he's a great guy and I love him. We get along very well. Politically, we disagree, but the whole part about releasing his murderers and telling them to go into the country into America is so.
8,000 soldiers free. You know why they were free? Because I said otherwise they're going to tear off their cars. So he gave us 28,000 Mexican soldiers free.
Mexican soldiers. Yeah, should have put them on the southern border, in theory, if that's where the mass of people were coming. That would be a strategic decision that you didn't make. But also, so you didn't tear off their cars. So you sacrificed American auto sales. And all right. Okay.
And it kept our borders so safe during the construction of the wall. Now the wall is almost built and he doesn't want to finish it. He doesn't want to just do the connections.
Yeah, it's the little connectors. That's where they're coming through. I mean, they're pouring through. I mean, they're not, but
It's a shame.
We were there in March with my team.
the word is sham. It's pronounced sham. There's no E on it.
In a 2-3 hour period in Yuma, Arizona, saw probably 150 people cross. We questioned a lot of them that could speak with us. We found them from 12
Yeah, they don't. No one at Newsmax speaks Spanish. It's a firing offense.
countries, a lot of men and women and children, young, old, you name it. And what's interesting is when we talked to the border agents, they were telling me that somewhere between 45 and 55% of them are not even on the border anymore. They're so busy literally babysitting, going to Walmart and buying formula and clothes. So our border, besides whether the wall will be complete or not,
Going to Walmart to buy clothes. Okay.
50% of the agents aren't even.
Oh yeah, because they keep finding children as opposed to military-aged males. And so instead of being down there whooping and kicking ass, they got to go buy diapers.
So my question to you is, we've now got Afghans that are going to be coming into this country, and
Yeah. I mean, are they though? I mean, they're probably ISIS, probably came from Iran. I mean, they speak some foreign stuff. Do you even know?
We know they're not all being vetted. There's no way they're getting out and vetting them properly that quick. We've got a
Well, they're not bringing them here that quick.
southern border that we know at least about 100 people on the have watch list have come through. Are you worried, Mr. President, about another 9/11 style attack?
Oh, you're going to have it. You're going to have it. As sure as you're sitting there, you're going to have
Yeah,
it.
you're going to have another 9/11 as sure as you're sitting there because you're bringing in all these Afghans. And I mean, honestly.
Forget about Afghan. You have many countries in the Middle East right now where they're coming in. But with the Afghans, we're bringing them all over the world, as we said, planes dropping them all over to countries all over the world. But here's the thing. Most of those countries are smart, and they're run smart. They're going to drop them off into this country. They're going to say, listen, we're holding them for a short period of time, but we want the U.S. to take them. We'll end up taking everybody. We're like the lapdog for every nation.
The lapdog for every nation. And that's how the lapdog takes all the Afghans.
Look at when you look at, as we said, NATO, the way they use us, and then they kill us on trade. I said to Merkel of Germany, I get along with her nicely. I liked her. She's very smart.
Yeah, not as much as I like the president of Mexico who dumps rapists and murderers into our country. I mean, maybe I'd like Angela Merkel more if she maybe, I don't know, got a boat full of German rapists and murderers and had them sail over here, or maybe flew them over. I don't know. We could work something out.
Good for Germany. I said, you don't treat us right. We can't sell cars in your country. How many Chevrolets are in the middle of Berlin? Oh, I don't believe any. You're just about right. I think there's one. It's in a museum. I said, how many Fords are in the middle of another German city? And yet we have 52,000 troops.
See that angle? They didn't bother. Maybe he insisted. Oh, that makes sense. I just figured it out. Trump saw the well-lit version of this angle and poo-pooed it. So they because he looks like crap. So he looks fantastic right now. But they muted the light because he didn't like what he looked like. Makes total sense.
Over there to protect them against Russia, and then they make a deal with Russia to give them billions of dollars with a pipeline going into Germany to supply Germany with energy. So I said, so let me ask you a question, Angela. So you pay Russia billions of dollars for energy, and we protect you against Russia. That's not making a lot of sense. I'm the one that exposed the pipeline. Nobody ever talked. You probably never even heard of the pipeline going in. Nord Stream 2, nobody talked about it until I came along. And Putin even said, you're killing the pipeline. It's true. I was very tough with Russia, but getting along with Putin is a good thing. Getting along with Xi, I get along great with Xi of China.
Yeah, great. I mean, he was very professional. He was very transparent about COVID, as you've told us many, many times, especially right in the beginning of it. You said it over and over and over again. And then while you were making the deal.
I get along great with Kim Jong-un, but now he's angry because he's angry about something and he's doing the nuclear stuff again.
The nuclear stuff. Hey, slow down with the mumbo jumbo, okay? Some of us aren't all tech savvy.
Play games with nuclear.
Why don't the Democrats understand? You keep your friends close, but the enemies closer, and that's what.
Well, because your definition of closer is fucked up. Like, he gave Putin information that led to the death of an Israeli spy. Like, that's too close.
You did.
Well, I got along great with most of the leaders. The only ones I didn't get along really good with
were our allies.
Weak ones. But those are the ones we didn't have to worry about. But I got along really great with the leaders.
Yeah, great.
And like getting along with...
Do we have that? Well, we should check that. That's not a bad idea, guys. Hold on. Number of U.S. cars sold in Germany. Let's see what that's over. Just going Main America. Well, this isn't exactly the plan. Made in America, the German cars Trump doesn't want. President Trump has followed up a fractious weekend summit with major U.S. allies by repeatedly accusing them of unfair treatment on trade. The European Union doesn't take a lot of what we have, and yet they send Mercedes into us. They send BMWs into us by the millions. It's very unfair, and it's very unfair to our workers, and I'm going to straighten it out. He's complaining about foreign tariffs and trade surpluses are by now familiar. Here are the facts. Trump says there are too many German cars. Trump told French President Emmanuel Macron during a recent meeting in Washington that there are too many German cars in the United States. He also raised issue with the German Chancellor Angela Merkel in the past, threatening to tax German car imports 35%. Economists say Trump is missing 2 key points. German automakers have opened big factories in the United States, dramatically reducing their need to import cars. Plus, targeting German car makers would hurt American workers and the U.S. economy. German automakers sold 1.35 million vehicles in the United States in 2017, and about 8% total U.S. car sales. Of those, only 494,000 were exported from Germany to the United States, 25% less than in 2013, according to the German Carmakers Association. Most of the remainder were made in the United States and in Mexico, where he could have tariffed them, but he needed soldiers on the border, which has a free trade agreement with the United States. Oh, when did that happen? GM and Ford also make cars in Mexico for delivery to the United States. German car factories employ Americans. We know all this. Let's see. I will look up the. Let's see. Let's see if how many. I'll just do it this way. How many American cars sold in Germany? This is from April 30th, 2018. But this will give us a number on this thing as well. I don't understand this type of thing. That's good. 5,741 Mustangs were sold in Germany. Why American cars don't sell in Germany? And it's not tariffs. Europeans don't buy American cars because they don't like their huge size and appetite for gasoline, not because of import duties. Germany doesn't import many American-made cars. The reason is not what Trump believes. Europe's relatively high tariffs on imported vehicles, but the continent's preference for small, less polluting cars that don't cost a fortune each time they visit the gasoline pump. Europe is a highly competitive and very special market, which is due to sophisticated customer requirements. U.S. charges only 2.5% duty on imported brands like BMW, Mercedes, and Volkswagen, while Europe imposes a 10% duty on imports. But it's not the price that matters, but fundamental differences in the taste. 3 best-selling models in the U.S. are pickup trucks from Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge. In Germany, there is not a single pickup truck among those 50 most popular models. As opposed to the car market, the U.S. is staunchly defending American manufacturers in the pickup segment. Imported trucks are subject to a 25% tax, not the 2.5% levy on cars. So 5,741 Mustangs. That's more than one that's in a museum. That would be a lie from Trump so far. What a surprise. And that was that year.
With Putin, he's got his 2,000 nuclear warheads, and getting along well with Kim Jong-un was great. I got along with him. I actually liked a lot of these people.
Yeah, don't say that. Getting along with them or manipulating them or outsmarting them or using a charm offensive like Reagan supposedly did is way different from going, I actually like the dude.
And they liked me and they respected me.
They liked me because if I could get away with spraying toxins into the face of my political rivals, I'd have done it.
They respected our country, more importantly. Now our country's a laughing stock all over the world. I got along great, as an example, with President Xi. I call him King. He said, but I am not.
Called him King. Here, King. Here, King.
King. I said, yes, you are your president for life. It's the same thing. You're the king. But he and I got along great. And then COVID came. The China virus came. And when the China virus came, I made an unbelievable trade deal with China. That's what's keeping.
Yes, it's not believable. I mean, they honored about a third of the first third, and the second 2/3 didn't exist.
Farmers wealthy right now. But the trade deal I made with China was great. But you know what? Once COVID came, it was just a different thing. It was hard.
My heart wasn't in it. I don't know. I mean,
along with somebody, because it came out of China. It came out of the Wuhan lab, just as I said.
The Wuhan lob. It's a New York pronunciation. It's only the most erudite people pronounce it that way.
A long time ago. Remember when I said that and they went crazy?
Right.
The media to protect them. You know why?
Early
Because they make a lot of
2020.
money from China and they have a fear of China. But they immediately defend China. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, they defend China.
No. No. I've been to China a bunch. If I shit on China about something legitimate, nobody has a problem with it. I thought there would be. I've written a couple of posts where I was like, I'm going to get hit by somebody for this. Nobody has. Nobody.
I said it came out of the Wuhan lab, the Wuhan.
No, you didn't. You said it came out of Wuhan, which is a city in Hebei province, and everyone knows that.
But came out of the lab. Everyone went crazy. They took.
He didn't say it came out of the lab during his presidency. He did not.
Twitter, but I turned out to be right.
Yeah, we're going to get to that one. I want to stay with COVID.
Get to that one when people have forgotten what he said. Let's see. Trump says, should we do one lab 2020? Let's see. Trump claims there we go. This is what he's talking about. This article is a year old. This is what he's talking about them at reacting. Trump claims to have evidence that coronavirus started in Chinese lab, but offers no details. The problem wasn't that he brought it up or that he says it came from a lab. It's that he didn't actually. He said he had evidence and didn't show it. President touts unsubstantiated theory shortly after Director of National Intelligence rejects it. Maybe that's why. Donald Trump claims to have seen evidence to substantiate the unproven theory that the coronavirus originated at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Despite U.S. intelligence agencies' conclusion that the virus was, quote, not man-made or genetically modified, which, by the way, is different than saying it came from the lab. This is during the Trump administration. This is his intelligence and his White House not being on the same page. We're going to see where it comes from, Trump said at a White House event on Thursday. We have people looking at it very, very strongly, scientific people, intelligence people, and others. We're going to put it all together. I think we will have a very good answer eventually, and China might even tell us. Sure, why wouldn't they tell you? Explained what evidence he had seen the virus originated in a Chinese lab. Trump responded, I can't tell you that. I'm not allowed to tell you that. You notice all those people are when Biden's like, I'm not supposed to take questions because his staff is like, you got to be somewhere and you're going to get pissed and we've been talking about you staying on message and because you don't want to sabotage our agenda, when we're trying to get things like infrastructure passed. Can you please not get mad at Steve Ducey and call him out in a press conference? You just say it and then we'll do a press conference later where you can talk to people, okay? And so Biden will sometimes say, I'm not supposed to take questions because he's going, I'm not supposed to take questions because my staff gets pissed because they know I'm going to be here all goddamn day and we have places to be. And nobody brings up the fact that Trump, when he was talking about the Wuhan lab leak story, I can't tell you that. I'm not allowed to tell you that. Why not? Because he knew it was bullshit? Yeah.
Big one that our viewers at OAN want to know about. When it first started, and then it came out after you left office, people, of course, ran the tapes from the author when you were talking about it back in January, February. And
the author?
And the media, of course, accusing you of downplaying it. I understand.
No, he said he downplayed it.
You understood that from a business standpoint.
Cheerleader.
Yeah, it's business. You downplay a safety, you know what I mean? Like, in the same way that, I don't know, the mayor of Amity downplayed the shark in the water.
Exactly. You're not going to instill fear in a nation, especially when we have the best economy.
Well, no, it's not about fear. If you're standing on railroad tracks and someone's going, I don't know, it doesn't seem that big. I wouldn't worry about it. It's a tiny train. It's not even a real train. It's like a toy train. It's fine. It's not, nobody's been hurt. Like 14 people have been hit by this tiny train, and they're all getting better. I wouldn't worry about it. Just keep standing on the tracks.
We'd seen in how many decades under you? We had 8 million more jobs than we needed. Hispanic, black,
Than we needed.
you name it, the jobless numbers, they were the lowest ever in history, right?
Best ever.
Was there any missteps? Do you regret anything with the handling, or did you do at the time and looking back in retrospect what was right for not hyping it up and scaring a nation?
Yes, not hyping it up and scaring the nation. Look, they're standing on the railroad tracks. We know that there's millions of people standing in the and a lot of them are going to get killed by this train. Not all of them, but once it plows through here, I mean, some people will jump out of the way, I suppose, the healthy ones. But anybody who can't move very fast is going to get killed by this train. But I don't want to scare everybody by saying, maybe step about 10 feet either side of the train tracks.
Actually, thank you for the question. I guess in life you always have missteps no matter what you're doing. Even if you get 100 in your exam, you could have done maybe a little bit better, right?
No, if you get 100 in your exam, you got 100 in your exam. You can't.
Great job. The ventilators, there were none. We made them in a short period of time. We had them being made in Ford and General Motors and Honeywell and, you know, all of these masks.
It's weird because the Obama administration, let's see, admin, ventilators, deal, Trump, something along those lines. This part you might want to talk. Let's see. Trump administration quit. Trump administration overspent on ventilators by as much as $500 million. An investigation released Friday by House Democrats says that, hold on, I'll blow this up for you guys so you can see it a little better as well. Let's see. Released by House Democrats says President Trump's administration overpaid by up to $500 million on ventilators as the coronavirus pandemic first struck the United States. In a review of thousands of pages of internal administration documents, Democrats on the House Oversight Committee said Philips North America was contracted to deliver 43,000 ventilators to the federal government for a significantly higher price than it did under previous contracts for functionally identical ventilator models delivered under contracts dating back to President Barack Obama's administration. The American people got ripped off, and Donald Trump and his team got taken to the cleaners. The Trump administration's mishandling of ventilator procurement for the nation's stockpile cost the American people dearly during the worst public health crisis of our generation. Democrats called for Philips to return the amount of money they said the government was overcharged. Philips denied the report's findings, saying the company did not raise prices in relation to the pandemic and agreed the increased price for the ventilators actually represented a discount. Said in a statement that the company did not recognize the conclusions of the subcommittee report, and we believe that not all of the information that was provided has been reflected in the report. I would like to make clear that on no occasion has Philips raised prices to benefit from the crisis situation. They weren't accused of gouging, asshole. You had a contract to supply some. Trump got rid of it, and then when he asked for more, you were charging him retail. The report, however, disagreed with Philips' claim. A functionally identical ventilator was delivered to the Obama administration under a 2014 contract for $3,280, based on the report's review of purchases between December 2019 and May 2020, and other small purchases, even those that purchased only one ventilator of the same model, secured them for as low as $9,327. No American purchaser paid more than the U.S. government, the report said. What was they gave the price? Yeah. According to Philips, the list price of the ventilator ordered under the contract is $21,000. We were so good with ventilators. We had a great deal. We made a great deal. We paid twice as much as Obama paid for this.
We were doing what we did. All of the cupboards were bare, including the U.S. cupboard.
And you left it that way. The U.S. cupboard?
Didn't have anything. We didn't, because nobody really ever thought a pandemic would happen.
Nobody ever thought a pandemic would happen. Nobody. Hold on. Obama forms pandemic response team. Hold on. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Nobody. And by nobody, he means Obama. He just considers Obama a nobody. So that's important. In December 2014, then President Barack Obama warned that the United States needed to prepare for an upcoming pandemic. Nobody thought it was going to be a worldwide pandemic. I mean, come on.
On that, and I said
That was
yesterday,
intentional.
if they were as good at fighting wars as they are at stealing elections
Wait,
and
it already went back to that? Where happened? Okay, hold on.
Not to finish the wall.
billions and billions of dollars,
Hold on.
Probably 150 people cross. We questioned a lot of them.
you don't treat us right. We can't sell cars in your. I get along with them. I actually like,
Where are we?
just as I said a long time ago. Remember when I said that and they went crazy?
Right.
Everyone went crazy. They took me off Twitter, but I turned out to be right. Just as I said a long time ago. Remember when I said that and they went crazy?
It's the Wuhan
The media
lab
to
part.
protect them. You know why?
early
Because they make a lot
2020s
of money from China. They took me off Twitter, but I turned out to be right.
Yeah, we're going to get to that one. I want to stay with COVID. That's another big one that our viewers at OAN want to know about. When it first started, and then it came out after you left office, people, of course, ran the tapes from the author when you were talking about it back in.
Jump ahead.
Exactly. You're not going to instill fear in a nation, especially when we had the best economy we'd seen in how many decades under you? We had 8 million.
Yeah, you don't want to ruin the economy by warning people that they're in danger.
We needed Hispanic, black, female, you name it. The jobless numbers, they were the lowest ever in history.
They weren't any closer to the white and Asian numbers, which is the separation. So you don't get points for changing anything unless you taper those numbers closer to each other and lower them all together.
Best ever.
Was there any missteps? Do you regret anything with the handling, or did you do at the time and looking back in retrospect what was right or not hyping it up and scaring a nation?
Well, I actually thank you for the question. I guess in life you always have missteps no matter what you're doing. Even if you get 100 in your exam, you could have done maybe a little bit better, right? We did a great job. The ventilators, there were none. We made them in a short period of time. We had them being made in Ford and General Motors and Honeywell and, you know, all of these masks. We were doing what we did. All of the cupboards were bare, including the U.S. cupboard. The governors didn't have anything. We didn't, because nobody really ever thought a pandemic would happen.
We have to put in place an infrastructure, not just here at home, but globally, that allows us to see it quickly, isolate it quickly, respond to it quickly. So that if and when a new strain of flu, like the Spanish flu, crops up 5 years from now or a decade from now, we've made the investment. And we're further along to be able to catch it.
Just in case. And nobody really thought about it.